Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hi, welcome back to the OC Health and Education Show on Little Saigon TV. I'm your host, Julie Yip. Julie Yip cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV. Hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Raphe Margolin để tiếp tục nói về cái chương trình của the Seniors Real Estate Specialist. Hôm nay, today we were able to talk about, your background, to talk more about the involvement of your family and how you're continuing to celebrate your family's legacy. I love how you transitioned before the show that you went from, to your nonprofit, which is aging artistically, and marrying the needs and your specialty of gerontology and going into real estate. I think what you are truly a person who has that foundation to help our seniors and our families as they transition through life. I know that when we talk about you being the last Margolin, you always say that there's lots of things that you had to deal with. How when you lost your sister when she was young, and your parent. And I think for me, I want to know what you know now and what you went through with your family. How do you think that can benefit you in the process of your family's transitions?
Well, what I learned is basically to have everything written down.
Oh.
And I don't know if you want to show the audience right now.
Sure.
But there's a program that I don't benefit financially from this.
Okay.
I just think it's really great. And there's, I'm sure, other programs similar online that you can access. It's called 5 Wishes. And I have actually a copy that I brought here that's in English, and there's also one in Vietnamese.
Wow.
And what it does, it allows you to detail specifically, one, who you want to be your health agent. So say you're incapacitated, you never know. Suddenly you get in a car accident and you're unable to speak to what wishes you have regards to your health.
Correct.
And so then it specifies who will decide for you. But also, in addition, it has details on there what you want done for you.
Okay.
Because there's things like, there's a simple concept of what's called a full code, where if you were to stop breathing and all, they would do everything to bring you back.
Correct.
And then there's a thing called a DNR, do not resuscitate, but they'll do nothing to bring you back. They'll just make you at ease. But there's a lot of things that can be in between that will assist you. Whereas, deciding, okay, if there's a decision that what will help me isn't going to do anything to prolong my life, then I don't want it. But if it's going to help me, the doctors feel that there's a chance that will help me, then I want this. And then it also specifies other things in there too. What kind of music that you want played by your bedside? What music do you want at your funeral? Because unfortunately, we're all going to end up there one day. So it goes through a lot of details about your later periods of life. And it doesn't have to be your end stages, because of course this is saying what I want if I end up in the hospital. Do I want a feeding tube? Do I want ventilation? All of these things. And maybe those things that you're given will help you sustain your life and then be healthy and live for 20 additional years.
I think what you're reminding all of us is that the importance of planning ahead and putting everything in writing. Because many of us, we think we're young, that we'll never, we'll live forever, and that planning is only for, our parents or when you're older. Unfortunately, we lost Stacy very early. Did she have anything in writing, and was that different with the experience with losing your parents?
My parents thankfully had everything detailed in writing.
Okay.
I used to joke with my mom, to have her funeral paid for, so I didn't have to at the last minute try and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because they took care of themselves financially.
They're planners.
But, it's still hard to maybe come up with the money for a funeral at the last minute.
Correct.
So it's better to have it paid for. Stacy didn't have things written down ahead of time, except for like in the last 7 weeks when she was in the hospital, 7-8 weeks. We got some of the information when she was able to be clear enough to communicate her needs and have my mom oversee things and my mom know what she wanted, but still it wasn't as specific as we would have wanted. You know, we had family in a room and friends that were all in a room debating whether or not she would want to know that she, at this point, that we were there, that she was going to likely
it kind of take away a lot of the guesswork.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely. You can say, do you want to know whether or not, you know, you're not going to survive?
Okay.
And then that way people know. It also, to me, the biggest thing about this is, because it takes away the guesswork, is that you ease things for your survivors, meaning especially the children.
So basically, it's a gift to your family, to making that loss process, because losing a family member is always hard, you know. But I think when we plan ahead and we put our wishes known, it eases that transition process. Well, thank you, Ray, for sharing that, and thank you so much for being so open about your personal experience, because, you know, I love the fact that you're here today to share about your personal story, and knowing that you have lived experience when you're helping and holding the hands of our families within the community. Thưa quý vị khán giả, hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Raphe Margolin. Raphe Margolin hôm nay chia sẻ với mình đó là Raphe là một người senior real estate specialist, đó là một người giúp cho không phải là đặc biệt cho người cao niên không, mà rất nhiều cao niên cần cái sự giúp đỡ của Raphe về real estate, về địa ốc, là tại mình phải sắp xếp trước khi mình lớn tuổi hơn mình mất. Raphe nói đó là có một cái chương trình nó kêu bằng 5 wishes. The 5 wishes đó là một cái chương trình không phải là của Raphe mà một cái non-profit. Raphe chia sẻ với mình đó là rất là quan trọng, mình phải viết xuống cái muốn của mình, về cái wishes của mình, để cho gia đình của mình không có cái khó khăn lúc mà mình qua đời. Trước nhất không phải là mình phải chờ cho mình lớn tuổi mình mới phải viết xuống, mà mình phải sắp xếp để cho in emergency. Thì hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Raphe Margolin. Raphe Margolin có chia sẻ với cái khó khăn của gia đình, là Julie cũng có một cái câu hỏi đặc biệt, gặp được Stacy Margolin, đó là em của Raphe. Stacy qua đời lúc mà 49 tuổi thôi, rất là trẻ, mà không có sắp xếp trước, là tại mình nghĩ là mình trẻ, mình không có cần plan ahead, mà Raphe là một cái người specialist giúp cho về lifespan. Mình sắp xếp ra chừng nào mình cần thì mình có được có cái ease về trong gia đình, thì cũng không có nhiều cái khó khăn. Raphe, I thank you for so much for sharing this experiences with your personal journey, but also to now bridge and bring together all the love that you do for gerontology throughout the life transition, and to helping people as they make important financial decisions as it relates to real estate. Now, can you tell me a little bit about the organization that you're affiliated within, the brokerage within your for real estate work?
Well, I'm with Seven Gables Real Estate, which is an excellent organization. We have many offices around Orange County.
Okay.
I'm located out of Huntington Harbor, which is part of Huntington Beach.
Okay.
And as a seniors real estate specialist, I have the awareness of needs for people at different age groups. And especially what's important is if you're age 55 or older, and you've owned your home for a good amount of time.
Okay.
Because that way you now can move up to 3 times and keep your same property tax assessment for the amount that you move for. Say you buy your home is worth $700,000, so you sell it for $700,000, and then you buy a new home, it happens to be also $700,000.
Okay.
Well, your property tax will be the same. You can move anywhere in the state of California. It's something you want to verify all of this information with an accountant. I'm not an accountant, but you want to verify that information. But in regards to...
But what is that threefold that you mentioned? Like
what
the
it
3
means
times?
Is that the law prior to 2020, it had an allowance where you can move within to 10 different counties, and you had to do this only once. But now you're allowed to move 3 times and keep your same assessment.
Okay.
But also what's new is that it used to be that you had to buy a home that was the same price or less.
Okay.
Now you can buy a home that is more, but you would just keep the value for the amount that you had sold your home for. So if you decided to buy a home that was $1 million home,
Yes.
and your other home that you just sold was $700,000, you keep the assessment for that $700,000, but the $300,000 would be the higher assessment for that new place you moved to. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility, and it's very important to know. And plus, you have 2 years to identify a new home. So you can sell the home, have the cash in the bank, look around, and then find your new home.
Okay, so after the commercial break, we're definitely going to talk more about the details of this transition. Thưa quý vị khán giả, hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Raphe Margolin. Sau phần quảng cáo, chúng tôi sẽ tiếp tục nói thêm về cái chương trình của Seniors Real Estate Specialist.